Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Three Broke Guys Handicapping Show for Saturday's card at Aqueduct, the Cigar Mile card. Today is Friday, November the 25th. Hope everybody had a great Thanksgiving. And joining me tonight from Staten Island is my buddy Ray Torado. Ray, happy Thanksgiving to you belatedly, and how you doing?
Yes, happy Thanksgiving. Doing fine, doing very good. Looking forward
Good,
to
good.
Cigar Mile. Nice
Are
card.
you planning on attending in person tomorrow?
Uh, I'm 50-50 about it. I want to go, I don't want to go, I want to go, I don't want to go. I'm not sure.
Okay, well, if you do, you can always tweet or send some information to
Yeah,
our viewers through Twitter on Three Broke Guys Capping.
definitely.
Our third broke guy, Mr. Sharp, is still dealing with some family issues. Things have turned for the better for him and his family right now, but he's still taking a leave of absence from the show for a while. We're sure he'll be back soon enough. Hopefully, if everything goes well, I know he'll be back when the Santa Anita meet opens on the day after Christmas, the 26th of December. So, unfortunately, Rich, we're still thinking about you, and we're going to proceed to do the show. Unfortunately, without you, I'm sure you would want the show to go on. So, you ready to get started, Ray? Let's kick it.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. All right. The card tomorrow. The sequence we're doing is the late pick four from Aqueduct for the Cigar Mile. And the Remsen. The Remsen is race 8, and the Cigar Mile is race 10, and it finishes the card at Aqueduct tomorrow. It's a very competitive card. Race 7 is a state bred non-winners of 2 optional claiming for $40,000 claimers for 3-year-olds and up, going a mile on the turf. Not sure, Ray. You would know the weather better than I. Is there any rain in the forecast, or any chance that the turf will come up soft or yielding, or anything other than firm?
No, it's gonna be about low to mid 50s, and maybe a little cloudy, half sunny, but really
Okay.
no rain. Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's good that's actually good weather for New York at this time of year.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, we were both lamenting how cold we feel right now, but it's okay. I guess the card will not be affected by the weather tomorrow. Um, So basically, again, we have a non-winners of 2 state bred allowance going 8 furlongs on the turf, um, and it's a wide open race. They have 16 entered, 4 also eligibles. The morning line favorite, I believe, is the number 5 horse, Orino, for James Bond and Jose Ortiz, and he's 3-1. Like I said, there are a lot of options in this race. Like I said, 12 in the main body and 4 also eligibles. Ray, I'm not sure where to go with this. This was a difficult race for me, but since I'm the host and you're the analyst, you get to kick it off. So give us your opinion of race 7, the kickoff leg of the pick 4.
Yeah, there's no one I really is crazy about in this race. I kind of I went 4 deep here. I started out with number 5 Oriano. He's actually a morning line favorite with Jose Ortiz. He's winner of his last 2 optional claiming conditions. His last race, he showed a little late interest off a slight layoff. He'll be a stalker here. He has a good inside post. And Ortiz and Bond, they're pretty solid. 18% he's on the turf, and Bond is like 15% on the turf. So, it's running back in the same in the condition. So, Oriana should have a good trip here. Also, a little bit of long shot here is number 3 Aragonite with Johnny Velasquez. He's 6-1. Had a rough trip his last, and stays in the same class, and it cuts back to a mile. So, this horse, these conditions usually they stay in the conditions till somebody breaks out of it. So, um, sometimes they're in here a little longer, different trips. They change jockeys and stuff, but these horses are very competitive and stuff. I also was leaning towards number 7, Big Zip. Second time on the turf. Good sprint race in his last. Stretched out to a mile here under similar conditions. I like the jockey switch from sires to I ride OTs. Nothing against sires, but I ride is more higher percentage. And he's actually a lightly raced horse, so the fresh factor for him could be a good for him, and he's 6 to 1. So, and then you gotta respect the speed. Number 8, no texting. Actually, this horse beat me last time going wide to wide. So I'm gonna make sure I have him this time.
Wasn't just you.
Castellano try to gonna try and pop the speed in here, and Rudy Rodriguez, he's been doing pretty good. He won the 4 high weight with an under high weight horse. Runaway Heaven, 32 to 1. So that bonds usually Rodriguez heats up when Aqueduct comes in. So he's moving up to 9 wins of 2, but he might be able to handle it. He had a nice race last time. So I would go with the 5, the 3, the 7, and the 8. So Joe, we got a few more in here, so it's pretty wide open.
Yeah, we have a pretty varied opinion on this race. You were talking about the 8, no texting, and what I noticed when I looked at the body of this race is I thought that it looks like there were a lot of horses coming out of sprint races. So I'm kind of thinking that no texting is going to have some company on the lead. And I don't think he's going to get away with what he got away with last time, which leads me to my top choice, which is the 4, Fear the Falcon. He's definitely the most consistent closer in the field. He's won twice at the distance. He's one of multiple winners in the race. And the trainer and jockey combination of Steve Caceres and Manny Franco are 3 for 9 over the last 60 days. So they've been clicking pretty well together. And at 10 to 1, I'm willing to take a chance that, like I said, he's the most consistent closer. And I think this race is going to set up for a closer. And the track profile kind of looks as if the closers do better than the speed horses generally do here. And like I said, I think there's going to be a lot of horses that are stretching out from sprints. So I think the pace is going to be a little bit quicker, hopefully, than no texting once, even though he did run well in a fast-paced race last time out. But again, I'm going with the 4. I like the price of 10 to 1 on Fear the Falcon. And my second choice is another 10 to 1 shot, another horse named Cliffs of Dover. Joel Rosario gets up for Tom Bush, and there's another rider change. I like Rosario on the turf. And he was close. Again, he was close to an above par pace in his return from a layoff. So this is his second start. So I don't blame him for tiring in that spot last time. Again, it was his first race after a layoff. Rosario gets up, and again, another 10 to 1 shot. I tend to like having 10 to 1 shots on my ticket, at least to get started, because in case one of them happens to win, even with the favorites winning the other 3 legs, you're going to get paid pretty well. My third choice, again, like you, Ray, I went 4 deep. My third choice is Orino, the horse that you picked on top. I think he's the only one in this race who's eligible to be claimed. Again, it's an optional claimer, and everybody else I think is running as if it's an allowance race. Orino is eligible to be claimed. He's actually back with state breds. He's won his last 2 at this level. Jose Ortiz is up, and you can't really knock that. And he's coming back pretty quickly. So obviously the barn thinks the horse is doing well enough that they can warrant running him back as quickly as they are. So again, he's a short price. He's 3 to 1. So I think you have to use him to get through. And my fourth choice is actually another long shot, the number 1 Storm Prophet from Mike Hutchins' barn, who's doing pretty well right now. The horse is eligible for non-winners of 1 other than. Yet they're running today for non-winners of 2 other than. So I like it's a confidence move for me. I like that the horses, or that the trainer is confident enough that the horse can handle that level. It's his second start off a layoff, and he was one of the ones in behind no texting last time out. Again, I would take 15 to 1 on this horse, and like I said, these races are so competitive that I don't really like taking short prices. Again, I did like Orino as part of my top 4, but I also want to make sure I have some live long shots in here. So for my suggested pick 4 ticket, I would go 4 deep, and my choices in order would be 4, 11, 5, and 1. Fear the Falcon, Cliffs of Dover, Orino, and Storm Prophet. So now we head to the co-feature, or one of the co-features, and an important stake. Well, actually, I don't know how important it is. It's a 2-year-old stake going 9 furlongs in November. It's the Remsen stake. And last year, the race was won by Mo Heyman, who was until he faced Nyquist, was the future book favorite for the Kentucky Derby. And this was part of his undefeated 2-year-old season. And just some history. Actually, I just wanted to mention that if you didn't know, the guy who's won the most Remsen Stakes is, drum roll please, no, it's not anybody most of you would have ever heard of. It's jockey Eddie Maple, who's won the race 4 times. But the last time he won the race, I believe, was 1979. So I'm assuming a lot of you are not. A lot of you who are watching this were may or may not have been alive even back then, much less following the horses. So anyway, it's a competitive field. A lot of lightly raced runners in the Remsen this year. The purse is $300,000. I'm not sure if I'm looking to see if there are any. Actually, yes, there are Kentucky Derby points to be awarded. 10 to the winner, 4 to place, 2 for the show, and 1 point to the 4th place finisher. So we're on the road to the Kentucky Derby, obviously. So Ray, what do you got to say about the Remsen? Who do you like, and who do you think is going to get those 10 points?
Yeah, this race came up kind of a little weak for me. It's I find this race in the past to be very informative as far as the 3-year-old season, as far as a horse getting 2 turns early in his career. I mean, I've seen some horses like run well, not win, whatever, and have come back and have a big 3-year-old season, gain a distance. So I do value this race, and as far as right after the Breeders' Cup, now we're turning over and going to these horses, and in this field here, I have a few here that we have a lot that have just broke their maiden, so it's hard to gauge these horses, but we're gonna take a shot. And first, I'll take number 9, No Dozing. He's one of a few here with stick experience. He actually ran a decent 4th in the Breeders' Futurity behind Classic Empire, so he's got some stake experience. One of few here, so that could be an advantage to him. The Altowners, Centennial, and the Delacour, they're here to win, so they're not, they want to get those points. You have a lot of confidence in this horse. He's ran pretty good. We have number 4, Takaful, first-time starter, who won. He won his first time. Tremendous debut, sprinting. I would believe in stakes sprinting time, around 1:15 and change. I see a lot of upside with this horse. He followed up with a Bullet Breeze, and this horse could be a good one. It's actually 75 morning line, so this could be one of those horses which is you're gonna hear from next year, but you never know. So, but he looks pretty good from his first race. Number 6, Win with Pride. He's actually a 2-turn winner at Parks, which has some value in this race. A lot of these horses have not even tried 2 turns, and this could be important for this horse. Ira Ortiz picks up the mount for Pletcher, Rapolo Stable, and it could improve going longer. And this 15 to 1 this horse, so you're getting a price here. Number 10, Lead Astray. You got to respect the Phipps on this track. They've come with some runners from time to time. He's a Phipps homebred, maiden winner, going 6.5. He's actually his maiden win was 2 seconds behind Takaful, so that's a good 10 lengths if you want to measure those two up. He could like 2 turns, be a different pace this time, and he's definitely better for the distance out of APND, Malibu Moon, so he could demand some value here. He's 15 to 1, so. And Colorado has started out this Aqueduct being pretty good, bring home some long shots. So that's what I would pick. I would go 9-4 and like a tepid 6 and 10 on the bottom. If I had room, I would throw them in, and I would probably go 4 deep also in this race. So All right, Joe. The Remsen, it got dropped down to grade two and 300,000, but just to get the points.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's funny. With the top two spots, we're in the same boat. I like no dosing. I like Tactful for second. Tactful. I just want to mention on Tactful. I know there's a New York racing personality. I'm not sure if he's still alive. I'm not sure. I thought he had passed a couple of years ago. Harvey Pack, who was always the one to say, "Don't take a short price on when you're asking a horse to do something he's never done before." And in this case, Tactful is 7-5 morning line. Based on his speed figure, he's going to come down from that. He'll probably be somewhere around 4-5. And you're asking him to go from 6.5 furlongs to 9 furlongs, go 2 turns the first time, and beat winners, no less. So generally, I don't necessarily like taking short prices, but since we're playing a pick four sequence, he's one of the more likely winners, so I know we have to add him to the ticket. If somebody were asking me if I would bet this horse to win at 4-5, the answer would be no. But again, for the sequence, I would definitely add him. Again, no dosing. He has the stakes experience, as Ray mentioned, behind Classic Empire, and Tactful could be any kind. He could be very good. And, of course, his trainer actually won this race last year. McLaughlin trained Mohayman, and he actually Frosted ran this race 2 years ago, and he ran second. So McLaughlin has a good history in this race. But actually, I want to add another horse. I want to add a long shot, and it's really, it's because the horse has done something that most horses don't normally do, and that's the number 3, Hookup. He's 12-1 in the morning line. The jockey trainer combination is 5 for 19 over the last 60 days. And this horse won his debut at 8 furlongs, and that's really rare for anybody to have happen. His mom was a stakes winner. His dad's Union Rags, and Union Rags was the sire of Dancing Rags, who ended up winning one of the preps at Keeneland. I guess the Alcibiades before running 8th in the Breeders' Cup. So the dam and the sire show a proclivity for winning. And again, this horse ran the race. Had a chance to watch the race. The horse drew off like a good thing. He earned a decent speed figure, and second start he could improve. Again, he's trying winners for the first time too, and he's trying stakes company for the first time. But I'll take 12-1 as opposed to 7-5 every day. So again, I would go 9, 4, 3 in that order, but I'd have to make sure, at least for my personal ticket, that the 3 would be on it. So I'd go 3 deep in that spot. And like Ray said, the Remsen, I mean, there are only 10 points in the race. 10 points awarded, but you know what? Sometimes when it comes down to it, that 10 points could be, one other third or fourth place finish in another race could get you into the Derby. And that's obviously an important way to go now. And like Ray said,
I'm surprised that somebody's. I'm surprised that a few Breeders' Cup horses haven't come here really for this race.
Yeah,
I mean, 4 weeks.
It's only been 3 weeks since the Breeders' Cup, and chances are, again, I can understand why they wouldn't. I can understand why they might. If you thought the race came up light, and I agree with you, I actually think the race came up kind of light this year. But again, we'll see. I mean, if Tactful is as good as advertised, and he can improve off that speed figure that he ran the first time out, maybe it would be wise to just avoid him until his 3-year-old season.
Sure. Yeah.
But anyway, so 9-4-3 for me, and we'll move on to race 9. Non-winners of 1 lifetime, optional claiming 25,000 for 3-year-olds and up, going 1 mile and 3/8, 11 furlongs on the turf, nearly a marathon distance. Morning line favorite is the Rail Runner, Manitoulin, for Jimmy Toner and Antonio Gallardo. Again, 3-1 in the morning line, and a field of 10, if I remember right, a field of 10 lined up, at least entered for this spot. Again, Manitoulin has the rail, and they're going 3 turns around the Aqueduct on the turf, and basically, I think this is probably one of the last turf races you'll see up in the Northeast for a while, at least until probably around March. So if you love turf racing, enjoy it. you love New York turf racing, enjoy it because you're not going to see much more of it until March. You'll have to shift your tack to Gulfstream or the Fairgrounds or Santa Anita, Del Mar, wherever. But anyway, Ray, what do you think of the morning line favorite in this race? Do you think he's got a chance? Is he on your ticket?
Oh yeah, he'll be on my ticket. Yeah. I'm actually going a little form for this race. My top four deep here. Number 4, Call Provision, 7-2. These are gonna be horses that are gonna be on the board, price wise. He's actually 2 for 2 on Aqueduct's turf course. 3 for 6 trouble in his 3 losses, some sort. He's bred to go 11 furlongs. Chad Brown is really tough on the turf. He got Ira Ortiz. He's actually dropping class. Conditions fit here. New York bred wins don't count. He's got a few more extra wins from the state bred company. So yeah, he fits the condition. He's gonna run, and undefeated on the course. So he's gonna be tough. 7-2, not a bad price. Number 1, Manitoulin. He got a win at the distance, which is uncommon. And horses don't win distances that often. He won well off the layoff. He's been out since September. So he'll get a nice trip in the inside. Gallara has the mount. He's 23% for the year. And he's, like I said before, he started out with a good, for the meet, he's been riding pretty good. And Jimmy Toner's, well respected on the turf also. Number 9, Richmond Street. Named after my Staten Island here. Borough. He's been competitive in most of his route races. He's 4 out of 6 in exacta. And you gotta respect Billy Bott, always present on the turf. Manuel Franco has the mount. Number 5, Harley Home. He drops from allowance to optional claiming. He got a nice bullet work his last race, 47-3 in Belmont. He'll be a factor late in the race with Jose Ortiz, depending on the pace. He's gonna need some pace here. He might get it. Depends. I see some speed in the race. Jose Ortiz, they're tough at Aqueduct and the game trains. So that'll be it. I'll be going 4-1, 9-5, and I don't see no really long shots here. You have any long shots? I couldn't.
Actually, you know what? No. I came up with 3 of the same horses that you did. I decided to go 3 deep.
Yeah.
It's funny because I was looking at Call Provision. The only thing I'm not sure we really know what he is yet. Because if you look at him, he's won the 3 races he's run against state breds. He's lost the 3 races he's run against Open Company, but those 3 races were all stakes races. So is he good enough to win Open Company allowance races? I guess we'll find out tomorrow. Again, he's proven that he's not a stakes horse, at least at this point in his career, against Open Company. He might win stakes races against state breds because, again, he's undefeated against state breds and winless against Open Company again, albeit they're all 3 stakes races. My top choice was the 5. I actually went with Harley Home. Second time Ortiz. I like young horses in these races, and I like horses that exit Keeneland allowances more than any other place allowance races. And this horse had a little time off since early October, so now we're almost at the end of November. So he's had 6 weeks to recover, and Shug McGahee knows what he's doing. And again, McGahee Ortiz, I don't think you can really question anything about anything that they do. I like Richmond Street second. And Mott does well with maiden winners. He actually gets them to win, to repeat a good 23% of the time this year with a positive ROI. So I can't knock that. And then the one, because he's a stakes winner at this he's a winner at this distance. The 1 3/8 distance is a weird distance, and like Ray says, they don't run a lot of races over at that distance throughout the country. So if you find a horse who can win at that distance, you got to give him some respect. Again, he's morning line 3-1 favorite. So again, I went 5-9-1, Hardly Home, Richmond Street, and Manitoulin in the 9th race. in the prelude to the feature on the card, which is race 10, which is the Cigar Mile, grade 1, 8 furlongs on the dirt for 3-year-olds and up. I'm named after, obviously one of the greatest dirt horses we've ever seen in Cigar. Actually, they changed the name back in 1997 to the Cigar Mile. It used to be the NYRA Mile. And it's a grade 1. The purse is $500,000. It's a handicap, which, I mean, it's really weird calling a race a handicap now. They don't really handicap anything anymore. You don't see horses carrying 129 or 130 or even close to it anymore. And the morning line favorite, which actually this kind of surprised me. At least I think the morning line. I didn't really look closely at it to see it for sure. But to my knowledge, the morning line favorite is the number 1, Anchor Down, for Todd Pletcher and that man, Jose Ortiz. Again, 2-1 morning line in a 10-horse field, which I didn't really find this race to be very deep, just like the Remsen earlier, Ray. But I'll let you take off and let us know, who do you like in the Cigar Mile in this year's version.
Well, in this sequence, I was planning, and that's why in the early races I did go deep, 4, because in this race I'm really looking to single Anchor Down, number 1. I think he's the speed from the rail. He's the one to catch. He's the winner of the Kelso Mile, 132 and 4. Tremendous time at Belmont. Westchester winner also. You're looking for his grade 1. For the second to Frosted. And Jose Ortiz, right hot, ready. So he's very 26% for the meet. I think he'll control the race, and when it comes time running, he'll take off. He got speed and stamina to go miles. Right? He's have a good year, and I hope he'll finish it off this year in winning form. I'll mention a few horses for information only. Number 2, Economic Model. More suited for one-turn closing into this pace. He could get a good trip for the inside. He finished third to Star Walking Dude. He just finished second yesterday for highway. He carried 134, so. Yeah. He finished second to Dufong, going 7 furlongs. And Rosario and Brown are a good combination. He'd like to keep him at one turn. Number 7, Connect. He had a big win in the PA Derby against some top 3-year-olds. He chased Arrogant in the Travers. He can work out a trip here. My only concern is that one-turn mile may be a little quick-paced and leaning towards speed. But Castellano and Brown, they're here. They're looking to have a hot horse, and trying to get that grade 1 for him. But it's gonna be tough for him. I think the pace will be a little too fast for him and early on, and he might be more for 2 turns and more reasonable pace going. So we can see him next year at some good races. He's a good horse. I was told from a friend of mine, he's a very good horse. Number 5, Ocean Knight. Needs to improve a few lengths, trying to catch Anchor Down. He ran evenly 3rd in the Kelso. John Velasquez rides. He'll move a few lengths, hopefully. He's got to be a little more aggressive on him with this middle post. So I'm looking to single to 1. But if I have a good day, I have a lot of money, I could always throw in the 2, the 7, and the 5 for a little bit of insurance here. But the Cigar Mile is a good race. It's a top quality race. It's at the end of the year, and I'm looking forward to it. Joe,
it's funny. I was kind of attacking it the same way you did, but I don't think I'm to the point where I can single Anchor Down. I do like him as my top pick. Again, 2-time graded stakes winner at the mile, but they were both at Belmont. He hasn't done anything over the Aqueduct Strip yet. 0 for 2 lifetime. He did finish 3rd, and I guess he finished 4th in the Carter behind Saludos Amigos And he finished third in his other start at Aqueduct. And the only thing, looking at his PP, the only thing that really concerns me is the last time he broke from the rail was at Saratoga in the in the Vanderbilt, and he didn't break well. Um, and unfortunately the two races that we talked about, the Kelso and the Westchester, he was on the lead from the get-go. So if he's going to break poorly, he's going to have a little bit more difficulty. I think he may be more of a need the lead horse, even though, and like you said, he does have the stamina to get the mile. That's not really an issue. To me, if he had drawn a little bit more of an outside post, maybe 3 or 4, or maybe even further out than that, I would definitely not have a problem singling him. But I can't take that chance given the history with the rail and the fact that he looks like, at least to me, when he's on the lead, he's tough, and he's tough to get by. When he's not on the lead, he's never passed horses in the stretch. So I at that point I would be like, okay, he's got to break well, and being that he's on the rail doesn't necessarily help that, especially in a 10-horse field. So he's going to be sitting in the gate for probably about 30 seconds to a minute. And again, he's 2-1. If he was a higher price, I could probably accept that. But again, he like I said about Tacklefull earlier, he's one of the most likely winners, so I have to include him. The other horse I included is your friend's horse, Connect. Chad Brown freshened him out of the PA Derby, so he's had 2 months off. Obviously, he was pointing for this spot. Second time Javier Castellano, which is never a bad thing. He obviously learned a little bit about him. But again, he's facing older for the first time. Again, it's not the deepest field. It's not the best Cigar Mile we've seen. But again, I would have to go at least 2 deep to feel comfortable, the 1 and the 7. And I actually wanted to give you a little bit of a trivia question, Ray. I did a little research on the Cigar Mile. Since it's been changed to the Cigar Mile, the fastest running of the Cigar Mile was 1:33 flat. And it was done by the only horse to repeat as Cigar Mile champion. Would you happen to remember who that horse is? I know it's an oddball question, but you know the trainer of the horse. Let's put it that way. Last year Tonalist won, but it was not him.
That's all. I repeat now. Oh man.
Okay, well, while you're thinking about it, let's just give everybody some more information. The pick six. This sequence starts at 2:50 or approximately 2:50 Eastern time, 11:50 on the West Coast. So if you're playing this sequence, again, make sure you get your bets in early. My personal pick 4 would be a $36 ticket. Again, I would go 1, 4, 5, 11 to the 3, the 4, and the 9, to the 1, the 5, and the 9, and the 1 and the 7 in the finale. 72 combinations at a 50-cent increment would be a $36 wager. And Ray's top picks in each race, he went 5, 3, 7, 8. In the race 7, in the Remsen, he went 9, 4, 6, 10 underneath. 6 and the 10 were underneath. 4, 1, 9, 5, I believe. Was that your order, Ray? In race
4, 1, 9, 5. Yeah.
And he was thinking of singling Anchor Down in the Cigar Mile. So, Ray, have you come up with the answer? It's okay if you haven't. It's somebody that I hadn't even remembered won the race, but actually, like I said, he did win it twice. It was Congaree back in 2002 and 2003, trained by Bob Baffert, of course. So obviously, and he was pretty good. He actually ran third in the Derby and did some pretty good things otherwise. And just to tie up some other loose ends, we do not know. We have not made a determination of what card we're going to deal with next week. We have not had a chance to look at the stake schedule. I'm not sure if Gulfstream is starting up soon, the actual Gulfstream meet, not Gulfstream Park West. My understanding is that Del Mar is still running next weekend, so it's a possibility that we'll be there. And like I said, with the Aqueduct turf season, or the NYRA turf season, coming to an end, and them moving to the dreaded inner dirt track, I'm not sure. We are not sure what track we're going to handle next week. Just stay tuned to Three Broke Guys Handicapping on Twitter, and we'll make some kind of announcement during the week, and hopefully Mr. Sharp will have some input in it, and he'll be back with us. Is there anything else, Ray, that you wanted to add at this point?
No, but you know what? We'll be having some really interesting tracks to handicap the next month. So, you know, the racing's still there. The horses are still competitive, and it's actually fun. I mean, I've been starting to you know, since we've been doing the show, I've been starting to bet, you know, a little bit of the, you know, the tracks like Mountaineer and Penn National and
Delta Downs, Charles
yeah. I'm actually
Town.
getting a fancy for these horses, and you know, it's you know, listen, they run hard. They, you know, the owners run their horses, and it's actually fun to watch these horses run. And it's you know, you get some wild trip, you get some horses that just bolt, and you get, you know, 7, 8 wide, and you get horses with check and everything. It's actually fun. So you really have to, and it's a good learning experience to handicap these races.
Absolutely.
You know, because every race isn't stake races. So you gotta look at the drops in classes, the different conditions. It's really, really interesting. So you know what? We'll always have a good time handicapping any track. So it doesn't matter.
Well, yeah, I would love to say that, like I said, but and then of course I put in, like I said, when we was talking about the inner dirt track at Aqueduct, when it rolls around, like the dreaded inner dirt track at Aqueduct. Just play the inside speed. You're probably going to be okay. Play the inside speed in the dirt at Aqueduct. You'll do just fine.
It's very fun.
Because the thing about it is, and the thing about the winter racing is that, I mean, Pletcher keeps some horses back, but generally Pletcher's best, Chad Brown's best, Rudy Rodriguez best. I mean, I know Rudy Rodriguez is more likely to stay. McGahee, McLaughlin, all the big barns, all the ones that are looking to win the Kentucky Derby and the Breeders' Cup races, they're all going to ship their best horses to Gulfstream. So my guess is we'll probably be handicapping Gulfstream probably once or twice, or maybe a little bit more than that. Again, Fairgrounds has very competitive racing, and they will run turf racing as long as there's no rain down in New Orleans. So we'll definitely make sure we get some turf races and some tracks with turf races in there. And of course, again, starting, you know, basically the 3-year-old season is the 2-year-old season now, but come January 1, when everybody turns 3-year-olds, the preps start with the Hutchinson and Gulfstream, and then they just keep rolling from there. Again, the Remsen has 10 Derby points to the
January 28th.
So, yeah, and of course, you know what? And I guess I should mention, since we do have a little bit of time, that if you are interested, the first Derby Future Pool is open this weekend. My understanding, the last tweet I saw was that of the single entries, Classic Empire was 5-1, and the field was 5-2, which generally I would assume is going to drop because generally the field is around 3 or 4 to 5 for the first pool, because between now and then it's really hard to imagine being able to pick one horse. Picking one horse that'll actually get to the gate in the Derby is amazing. It's amazingly hard to do. But again, if you're into that sort of thing, the future book pool is open. And I guess one other thing I need to mention is the retirement of the second place runner in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile, not this time, who was retired this week due to a tendon injury. So sadly, he's not going to be available, and I'm sure it was a sad day for the Romans barn when he found out, and the owners, when they had to retire a horse that had such promise. It's hard when 2-year-olds get injured, and they have to, especially good 2-year-olds when they have to retire due to injury. But I guess at least the horse is not in any life-threatening situation.
No, it'll be a good sight.
You will see babies out of Not This Time.
Yes.
Unfortunately, Not This Time is not going to run in the Derby this time, which is kind of sad.
Mhm.
But again, hopefully, he gave Classic Empire a run for his money, and you'll see his babies in the track in, I guess, what, 2019, 2018, somewhere around there, because the breeding season is pretty much over for this year. I think it starts in April. Again, I'm not 100% sure. So maybe 2 years from I can't calculate it. So either it'll be 2018 or 2019 where you'll start seeing Not This Time 2-year-olds out on the track. So I guess at this time we'll just wrap it up. Again, my suggested pick 4 ticket is a $36 ticket, and I will put it out on Twitter. You can always follow us at 3 Broke Guys Capping. My personal Twitter handle is Joe English 16. My compadre Ray Tirado's Twitter handle is Ray Rock 4. So if you have any comments, please feel free to add them to the YouTube channel. It's my YouTube channel. Or again, you can easily send comments to us through Twitter. We're always available, and we'll be willing to answer them as soon as we possibly can and get back to you on any questions you may have. Otherwise, I guess that'll be all for this week. Again, we haven't made a determination for next week's show, but we'll see you next Friday, midnight Eastern and 9 p.m. Pacific. So, Ray, have a good night. And to everybody out there watching, we hope you enjoyed the show. Hopefully we can give you some information that'll help you cash a few tickets. But that's it for this week's 3 Broke Guys Handicapping Show. Hope you have a good day tomorrow and enjoy the rest of your Thanksgiving Day weekend. Have a good night.
All right. Good night.